The mechanics trap that keeps hitters in slumps. First off, I really appreciate you sharing your situation, the details and everything. Most hitters go through this, but don't actually recognize it. I can speak for myself. I knew when I was slumping, of course, but all I did was I really just fought it. I'd get stressed, I'd get tight, I'd get tense. I'd try to overswing. Some people underswing. I used to swing more often, so I start chasing pitches, strikeouts stack up like crazy. But basically what I really lacked was the understanding of how to reverse my way out of it, right? How to have a system, something I can go to every time I'm in trouble to be able to obviously, get out of those funks sooner. And I did not have that. So the fact that you already see the issues is a really good sign. You mentioned two main things that we're going to cover in this video. You've been over focused on mechanics and you don't have a clear approach at the plate. And so we're going to dive into it. So those two things are very connected. Okay. Whether you know it or not, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to share with you how they connect and how to understand it from a bigger picture so that you can kind of work your way towards fixing them. So issue number one, the mechanics trap. All right. So when hitters struggle, the first instinct is something must be wrong with my swing. I used to do the same thing. We didn't have as much like mechanical information back then, like on mechanics. It was 20 years ago. So there was no like social media hitting coaches or anything like that. And so for me, it wasn't mechanical, but it was like, I got to change my stance. I got to put my hands up. I got to change my load. I got to do something different, use different batting gloves, like whatever the heck it is. And it was I never really, sometimes things would work, or at least I thought they did, but who knows? But so we start chasing mechanics. Like nowadays, we start chasing mechanics. The problem is, so when confidence depends on the swing feeling perfect or getting results, it becomes unstable, right? Our confidence basically is on the roller coaster. We get a hit, we're confident. We don't get a hit, we're not confident. If we don't get a hit, it must be mechanics. And then like, if you fix the you think you're fixing mechanics, but then you don't get hits. Oh, now it's like even more, the confidence even takes a bigger hit because it's like, why isn't this working? And so you're just in this like vicious cycle of frustration, right? And so the other part is in games, the swing rarely feels perfect, right? Especially when you're overthinking those things. Yeah. So next thing. So that leads to, of course, like I mentioned, tension, hesitation, chasing pitches, poor swing decisions. Your brain is shifting from compete mode to control mode, you know what I mean? Or mechanical mode, technical mode. And that's just not how we perform our best. And hitting becomes a lot harder than it needs to be. I mean, think about the times when you're actually going your best, you're hitting your best. How easy is it? It's like everything just happens naturally. You're almost putting in no effort and the game is just flowing. The hits are flowing and the barrels are flowing. It's like no matter what you hit, it finds a hole somehow. Now, again, there could be like you could argue a little bit of luck here and there, but for the most part, when you're going good, man, there's a lot of variables that are coming together. I don't think it's luck. I don't think it's luck. If you go game after game after game for a weekend, for a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, whatever your hot streak is, like that ain't luck. You don't get lucky that many times in a row. So that means that there's things that are going really well for reasons that we're typically not aware of. And so that's what I help hitters try to do, is become aware of those things. So the real fix here, okay, is again, keeping things simple, is to build a clear approach. So instead of controlling the swing directly, like great hitters talk about and control the plan, the target, their intention, what they're trying to do at the plate. This is a super simple, but yet wildly overlooked aspect of hitting. I don't know why. What your brain is intending to do is going to determine what your body does. Like, if you don't have a clear approach, then you don't have a clear intention. Therefore, the body doesn't have coordinates. It doesn't have a road to drive down. And so this is what I call the approach. When your brain has that clear target, timing improves. Mechanics will organize themselves. Again, not perfect, but that's where the repetitions come in of training the approach. But they will organize themselves. Swing decisions improve. Confidence now stabilizes. So this is something we go much deeper inside my Mad Hitter Academy coaching programs, because the approach actually controls a lot more than most hitters realize. It influences timing, direction, contact point, swing decisions, aggressiveness, confidence, and the list can go on and on. The approach does so much. So many people think it's just like the outcome. Like, for example, if the approach, which is what I usually teach, is like, okay, we start off with like a basic approach. It's like, okay, so if you're a right-handed hitter, you're going to look for a fastball down the middle and you're going to hit a line drive over the opposite middle infielder, or even off their head. So it's like literal, like their head. So it's more specific. Okay. And so when people do that, there's a lot of things that your brain and body has to try to coordinate in order to make that happen. Okay. So, but a lot of people think like, it's just like, oh, why would I want to hit a single all the time? Or I don't want to be a slap hitter, just hitting singles all day. That's not what it's about. The approach sets your angle. The approach sets your direction. The approach can influence timing, direction, contact point. All of that is built into the intention Like the goal, the outcome the outcome is not the goal. Sorry. The process of which to create that outcome is what we're after, if that makes sense. Again, if you have follow-up questions to this, again, drop them below in the comments below this video. So why you're chasing right now. When you said you don't have much of an approach right now, that explains a lot. Without an approach, your brain is basically guessing. I mean, we know we want to hit the ball, obviously, but you think about it, like we're trying to hit the ball typically in a certain direction or a certain range. Like we're looking gap to gap, right? That's where we typically are going to be hitting the balls the best. You'll be early, you pull it more. You'll be a little bit later, it goes more the oppo line. But like otherwise, the target of the field from line to line with no clear intention really kind of makes it like you're aiming too big. If you aim too big, you miss bigger. If you aim smaller, you'll start to miss smaller. And so you can even think of like a like a dartboard or something, right? Okay, imagine you're playing darts. Okay, I don't know if you've played darts, but you should know what it is, right? You got a dartboard on the wall. Okay, or sorry, you're in front of a wall with no dartboard. You just got darts, and it's like, okay, throw some darts, play darts. There's no balls, there's no board. What do I aim at? Right. So you're just throwing at a wall. Like the scatter, the spray chart of where you're hitting the wall are going to be kind of all over the place because you don't really have anything to aim at. Okay, now we put a dartboard on the wall. And now we say, okay, let's hit the bullseye. Think about how much your spray chart is going to start to narrow and get more of a tighter cluster around the bullseye simply because you had the clear target. And then your brain, your eyes and your brain, body are working on coordinating the right amount of effort, the right angle, the right height, et cetera, right? And so anyways, it's very similar in hitting. So when hitters guess, they chase more, right? They have no clear intention. Swing decisions get worse. Timing gets inconsistent, okay? And so a clear approach acts like a filter for pitches, right? It tells your brain, this is what we're hunting. How can you go hunting if you don't know what you're hunting? Because what you're hunting determines how you prepare, right? In a literal sense, if you're going hunting, you got to know what you're hunting for, right? So you can be prepared. And similar thing, if I'm out there hunting, I got to know what I'm looking for so my eyes can zoom in and try to filter out everything else to narrow down to find my target. So the confidence piece, okay? So right now, your confidence is tied to how your swing feels. That's really common, or feels and results. I didn't put that in there, I should have. But the confidence is tied to how the swing feels, but like also the results. Because the results, how we think about the results is going to determine like where our confidence goes. So if every time I go 0 for 1, 0 for 2, I'm like, oh my God, like my batting average is going down or whatever, I'm 0 for 5 now, like I got to get a hit. Like then that puts a tremendous amount of pressure on yourself not unintentionally, inadvertently. Like you're not trying to, but it puts more pressure on yourself, right? And so anyways, that's really common. But elite hitters build confidence around things they can control. So they're reset between pitches, right? How they reset between pitches, bad call, bad swing, or good pitch by the pitcher, or whatever it is, they got to be able to reset faster. Their focus, their approach, their plan. And so these are all things that are within their control. And this is the thing I was talking about earlier, where we're not aware of what's going on when you're hitting really well. Because when you're hitting really well, you're actually doing the things that you're in control over. You're not in control over them, but they kind of like, they kind of start to click, right? And usually it starts by how you think. And all of a sudden you're getting a hit, you're getting good hits, and you're super confident, you're super positive. You step up there, you're more focused, like you're trusting your swing. You're not trying to go get the ball. You're letting it travel, like you're using the whole field. And like, there's things there that, granted, you can't do it every single time when you want to, but but having the intention to purposely put those pieces together is what can get you out of slumps faster. And so this is exactly what we work on inside the confident hitter training, because confidence has to become something you can generate on demand, not something that disappears when a swing feels off. So like, again, I work with hitters every single day. So many of them do the same thing. They're only confident when they get hits. But I'm saying like the best hitters in the world are usually pretty confident. They also go over. They also go 0 for 10, 0 for 15, 1 for 20, 2 for 25, whatever. But why should they step in the box? Why would they step in the box without the trust and the knowing that they can get the job done? They don't. They always know they can get the job done. So even if you are, a really good player, or say you're not one of the best in the world, but you can still step into the box and be like, hey, I'm over my last 2, but I got what it takes to get the job done here, no matter what the last at bat was, because your skills don't leave you. You don't go 0 for 1 and then like you're not as good of a hitter. It doesn't, whatever your skill level's at, obviously we want to improve it, right? You want to improve it. But just because you go over, it doesn't mean you've lost the ability to hit the ball. Sometimes we think that way, but it's not true. Okay. So the good news moving forward. Okay. So instead of trying to fix the swing, we want to focus on building a simple approach. A clear target, the oppo middle infielder's head, a consistent plan every at bat. It's an anchor. Okay, the approach is an anchor. When you're overthinking about other stuff, the approach narrows your focus to one simple target. The training is done once you're in a game. Now it's a matter of executing. Now that's my simple approach tip for you. Fastball, middle, oppo infielder's head, middle infielder's head. Okay. A consistent plan every at bat. Do that every at bat. Okay. Then let the swing organize around that. Okay. And if you have a bad swing, bad at bat, come back and do the same thing again over and over. Your goal in the box is not a perfect swing. Your goal is to compete with clear intention. So Ian, the good news, what you're experiencing is very normal, especially for a freshman working, trying to work your way up to varsity eventually. I'm not sure where you're at, but assuming that's the case, the key now is learning how to, one, reset quickly, simplify your focus, compete with a clear plan. Those skills will career. So the next steps, if you want more help, if you want deeper help applying this to your own swing and approach, there are a couple options inside the Academy. Premium, we go deeper on training, confidence, and approach. VIP is where we break down your swing, approach, and adjustments together. So it's a little more interactive with me. And you can check those out in the options here. There's going to be a link somewhere below in the text of this post. And yeah, man, but either way, keep asking questions like this, okay? That's exactly how hitters start figuring things out. Just remember that I'm here to help. Talk soon.